Well, there you are again. Charlie Greer podcast again. I do this every day. Today, Hollywood days. Man, my hair, I got to do something here. I know, right? Got some hair jelly in my hair. Hollywood days. So I lived in Hollywood for years, damn near decades. Because I moved around. I didn't stay in Hollywood proper. Because Hollywood's kind of small that you could get into West Hollywood but most people say Hollywood, but I lived in Hollywood like for years. Uh, and let's just start from the beginning. I moved to Hollywood in March of 1998. Pulled in. I was staying with a buddy on his couch for like a week before I could buy a car, rent an apartment, or a house. Uh, so I was at the corner. It was Sierra Bonita and Oakwood, which is like in the Fairfax district. It's actually a nice little area. It's not that big. I mean, the apartments are big considering some of the, and it's expensive now. Shit. Near Fairfax High, right down, near Fairfax. Matter of fact, when I pulled in my U-Haul, hopped out. Hey, you're here. Let's get. We went to Canner's, me and him and some of his neighbors. Walked there, and as we're walking there, like the next block, Julian Lennon shooting a video. Like Julian Lennon, like, hey, how you doing? It was awesome. Back then, you could. I mean, again, there's bad areas everywhere, but not this area. A lot of families. Some of the people that came like Leonardo DiCaprio. That was his neighborhood growing up. Drew Barrymore. Everybody went to Fairfax High basically. And yeah, so I stayed there for a week, maybe not even a week. Because I don't like living on people's couches, and so I found a place near the corner of Fountain and June, kind of not near the corner, down on June, right beside the I don't know what the park's name is, but it's the Valentino Park. It's where Valentino's statue busk is, and why they put it in that little park, you can't even hardly see. I don't know why. You think they don't give Valentino no respect. He's still stuck in that wall crypt. You know that's a temporary. They raised all this money to build, and they haven't. How long has it been? 100 years. He's still in that wall crypt. And we're moving on. So yeah, got there. I found it in Recycler. This is a little newspaper in LA. Recycler. So you looking for dude was looking for a roommate. It turned out he was from Georgia. So I'm from Tennessee. We just immediately, and he had a dog. I had a dog immediately, and our dogs loved each other. So we hit it off, became roommates. To this day, we're still friends. I don't see him. I think he's back in Georgia, but anytime he was around he came to, matter of fact, I think he came to visit me everywhere I lived. He would drive. Last time he drove to Arcadia, man, to see me. And I tried to get him to move in. I was like, dude, man, move in again. We can be, I'm renting the room. He's like, no, man, I'm out of LA again. Because people come back and forth and yeah, cool dude. I consider him like a brother. We don't see each other, See, I lived there. And it was the time, it was like, okay, I lived across the street from, I can't say who, but this celebrity's baby mama, and she had parties. And there was, again, people were like, there was more music being played, people playing guitars, people in their driveway. Like, I'm a set designer, like making something for some movie. You could just walk around on a Friday night, people, hey, come have a beer. That's gone. I'm sure in certain areas, but we're in Hollywood now. No. And it's just packed in cars. And Fountain used to be like they call it like the secret, like if you didn't want to stay off of the main drags, like Santa Monica, Sunset, Hollywood Boulevard, you hit Fountain, get down through there. Now everybody knows, and you can't, it's even worse. You don't want to get near Fountain, man. Because there's a stop sign, man, you'll be stuck. And there was like a block or two behind us. It was this old red barn that had been there forever. It was like a liquor store. We could walk there. We always had people over. uh, dinner parties, whatever. Uh, cool, cool. And Valentino Park. I mean, shit. Some deep diving tourist would find out that that was Valentino's statue there, and then up going north another block and a half. That's Sunset. And there's Sunset Sound, like the legendary studio and all that big church that's there, and uh, the office buildings, the place of the world or whatever with that globe to spin. Just and I used to love just to wake up, get up at like either 4 or 5 in the morning, like early, like Tennessee style, and just like walk Sunset Strip. Nobody's out, or people are kind of just getting, going home. Pardon me. And we rented the house to a movie. They paid us pretty good. It was oh God, what was his name? Jan Michael Vincent movie. He wasn't doing too good, man. I mean, poor Jan Michael Vincent. Cool. And they paid us like $700 a day for like 3 days. So we got $350 each day. So we made, paid rent for a while. Went and bought the most expensive beer, like raspberry beers, like they're like, had fun. And I lived there for about, I would say, 7 or 8 months. And the only reason I wanted to get my own place. I've always had my own place. Has nothing to do with my roommate. But I like to have. So I found this place across from Paramount for the exact same money, but I wouldn't have to pay bills. So we had to pay bills there. This shit. I mean, I told him, I was like, look, man, I'm just out of here. Big deal. I'll see you. Can you come by? I just want to have my own place. So I moved. That was on Van Ness. I moved to this place, and I've talked about this on the podcast, and it was cool. I lived on the 3rd floor, right across from the fire escape. I had the biggest apartment in the building because there's mostly just like bachelors, like just a room with a refrigerator and maybe a little hot plate, not even a stove. I actually had a kitchen and a stove, and technically a bedroom. I mean, there wasn't a door, and then I wanted to put a door, but then it'd been busted off. There wasn't anything to put a door. So I lived alone, and the room was, I mean, not big, but then I had a hallway at the end of the room where I could store, it was cool. And I had a little kitchen nook and a kitchen and a big bathroom. And everybody that lived there basically was like an actor, actress, musician, writer, comedian, just like minds, creative people doing the dreamers from every state you could think of and country. So there's always something going on. If you're bored, just walk around the building, go on the fire escape. You'll find something to do. And I was on the 3rd floor. If I went on the fire escape, you could see on the Paramount. Paramount was literally across the street. And sometimes they're like, hey, trying to tell you not to look. It's like, what are you going to, huh? What do we know? We're going to watch you build that Flintstone mobile or whatever it is. But then when you live in a building, that there's a lot of noise. A dude accidentally jumped me, knocked on my door, and I answered. He punched because he picked the wrong door. Like he got in a fight with someone else, and then and I've been working all day. I was on the movie set. I was working on, I think it was like The Muse, maybe it was, or one of the, and yeah, I talked about that. But he punched me. I thought it was my friends at the door. Bam! So I go out in hot water and fight. He got kicked out, and they kicked him out. And again, people get pissed or hungover or whatever, and just want to leave or owe rent, so they like pull the fire escape. I was like, okay, now I want to find a place that's like. So I was there for about about 6-7 months, maybe longer. Then I moved to Echo Park, which at the time was not. What it is now, but I found this really cool duplex. It was like so cheap. It was like $320 a month on a hill. Like it was behind. So it was set behind this house. Then there was a walkway, and they were the house is facing forwards. The duplexes had this way. So it was up on this hill, had the walkway, then had a porch you walk up on. Man, I could see the Hollywood sign. I could see all kinds of stuff. The 101 was right there. The freeway. fruit trees and awesome, you know, just nothing cooler at night, man. Just let the city open my door and turn off the lights in my house and let the city lights just kind of, you know, radiate my house and put on like the Eagles' greatest hits and, you know, just kind of, you know, having fun. Beer, you know, just awesome. Then from there, I stayed there, but then the gangs, they eventually, you know, it's gang infested. So you have to, you know, I didn't want to deal with I saw, you know, I walked my dog. I had a dog. So I'm walking my dog. And at night, one night, it was at night. I knew better, but she's like, you know, you need to go to the bathroom. So I had to go down the driveway, I mean, the walkway. And our street was like on a hill. And that was at Kent. So that was at Alvarado and Kent. So Alvarado, so off the 101 to Sunset, that's Alvarado. And Kent is this street that goes up the hill. Um, and I was out there walking my dog, and then there's drug dealers at night, you know, like on the corner, you know, these gangbangers, drug dealing. And what they would do, and it was gross, they keep their drugs, I don't know, heroin, cocaine, in like a little balloon or something wrapped up, and they have it in their mouth. So I guess it's cotton, you can swallow it, whatever. But these people would pull it. Now, these are the people that I saw were, I guess, studio people. Like they all had like nice cars. And the deal was he takes it out of his mouth and then he makes you, like, put it in your mouth. So if you get pulled up, you can swallow. I don't know. And I'd see, man, who knows what in your mouth, take it out of your mouth. Your gums could be bleeding and put it in your mouth, you know? So I was out there and that's going on. And man, the cops pulled up and this is the honest God truth. This guy pulled out like a hand cannon at the cops. And I was right there, like maybe 50 feet away, but up on the hill. It was dark and the cops took off. The cops tuck-tailed and ran, and I get it. I mean, you don't think cops will do that? Yeah, shit. And he went back to doing what he was doing. But then I'd seen that, you know, and I'm lucky to be alive, man. Lucky to get out of there. Rented a U-Haul and just got out like a couple days later, maybe a week. I mean, I said, like, because people were like, "Yo, man, they know you. You're a witness, man. You're a mark." No, what mark? Witness. Move. You can watch the movie La Vida Loca, My Crazy Life, about the girl gangbanging. That is that neighborhood. You can see the duplex. You can see Alvarado and Kent all through that movie. Now it's really nice, gentrified and expensive. In Echo Park, there's, you know, it's so nice. You couldn't even go to Echo Park when I lived there. It was bad. So from there, I moved to, where did I go? I think I went to the Valley, because the San Fernando Valley, it's just like people kind of, if you're in Hollywood, oh, the Valley, but it's certain parts of it and it's spread out. It all looks the same. It looks like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something. And I think that's where I moved to, let's see, was it Reseda? Pretty deep in the Valley, past the 405 in the Valley. And that's where I got hooked up with the henna people. My friend was like, hey, you know, she's got a 3-level condo. She's renting and she'd give you a job. So I was like, all right. So I rented the bottom level and then they were up. So it's almost like living by myself. And what was cool was like underground, because it was a parking garage. And then you had to drive around, you know, to get out, go up front. And so it was always cool. No matter how hot it was, my little area downstairs was always cool. And Reseda has its own little, and I was walking my dog one time and this dude ran me with a bike from behind. I mean, man, like, I don't know if it cracked my ribs. I didn't go to the doctor, but I was laying there, just stupid LA shit. And of course I should say, I'm just naming where I live, but in between all this, I was in a band. I joined when I lived on June Street. My roommate was like, "Oh, you were in Love Engineer. You should be doing your music." I'm like, "I'm just going to be my acting." And he placed an ad in Recycler, like, "Now you got to do it." And we're getting replies, and so we rented a rehearsal room across from Hollywood High School, actually, and looking for a bass player. And Sean from the Asexuals had moved the same week I did. and he was looking to put a band. He'd already had gigs booked, and he was there to poach the band. It's pretty cool how he did it. He was just like, yeah, poaching the band. I was like, we're not really a band yet. And I was like, oh, I was a fan of the Asexuals. I knew who he was. He's like, yeah, if you switch to bass, we'll be playing next week at the Mint. And I was like in my room and like, oh, and they were kind of mad at me, like, Charlie, we're gonna. And I was like, dude, it's already. I hit it off with him. Thank you for. And then him and I literally went to Guitar Center on Sunset, and I don't know what I took. I took one of I had some pretty good guitars, and I went in there and I traded that for a bass, a Squire bass, but it was a cool Squire bass. It was like made in Japan or something. And a P bass. And then I got a Fender 215 cab. And what else did I get? Some head, whatever, bass head. And sure enough, like 7 days after that, we're playing the Mint. And we're playing all Lamada, we were called. And it was Sean from the Asexuals singing on a guitar, me from Love Engineer, bass and singing, and then a dude named Dave who had been in I don't even know. And we kind of immediately, because people knew about the Asexuals, people knew about Love Engineer, we were like a thing for a while. Like, hey, the competition is fierce. It's Hollywood, man. Everybody's like, trying to get the gigs and this and that. But a lot of people just move there without any lineage. I'd already done no telling how many gigs. So is Sean. Dave probably hadn't done as much, but he was in some band that had done a little tour or something. Matter of fact, he quit Lamada to what band did he join? They went on the Warp Tour or Lollapalooza or something. And I got it. I was like, yeah, he's leaving us high and dry, but it's like, hey, he's moving on. Shit. That's what drummers do. He's not a songwriter. He needs to take the best advantage, And then we were wild. We were, it just, the next thing I know, I'm in AA and NA, and I had to be. Sean lived in West Hollywood, and he lived with a dude named Donnie he'd been in a band that were on Sub Pop. I forgot their name. He was cool, kind of quiet. We drove him crazy. Borrowing gear and then blowing it up, breaking it, and have to pay to get it repaired. Otherwise, like, you can't borrow any more gear, man. You can't. And we had a rehearsal room in the old RCA building, which is now like the LA Film Institute or whatever. And it was probably the coolest rehearsal. Granted, it was small, but like, and there were like hair bands were still going on. What was that? Tough. I think there were like some kind of, they were cool. But you could park on this ledge on top, and there was a wall, and you could see down Sunset and everything. And then that parking lot up there with the sunset in the background, they'd done so many photo shoots. Like when I got up there, I was like, oh, wow, that's where they shot this, that, and everybody popped, dude. And we rehearsed there. And our rehearsal room, which was small, they had a window, and man, you could see down Sunset. Like you could just see all this. It was the coolest. Just that was inspiring. We did a lot of good work in there, sweating it out, and it was small. It was a small rehearsal room and loud. And then when it was sold, I remember the security's like, "Hey, yo, man, don't pay that next month because this new owner, and I guarantee you, he's going to take all the rent and then kick y'all out and change because we had a security code." I was like, "Man, that's a solid, thank you." And of course, that's exactly what he did. We were like, well, we about a week late. And then like, oh, no, don't even worry about it. We got to come get our gear. Okay, we'll go in the code because we had a code that we knew to go, to get up in there. And now, again, I think it's the LA Film Institute, right across from the Cinerama Dome, that like big white dome. Again, they're tearing all this shit down. I think they're going to tear down the Cinerama Dome, which is a big theater. Awesome. I hate that I'm keep on saying awesome, but it is. I mean, and we went. My old girlfriend and I would go and see movies, and there was a little restaurant in there. Killer. And then LaMotta was. I wanted to do my own thing by then. I'd gotten the itch again. Like LaMotta was cool, but there was stuff involved. Again, I can't really get into certain things, but um, the point for me was we had gotten. There was a little label, a guy named Steve Kravac, who at the time was hot. He'd just done Blink 182. He'd done all these bands, and he was a producer, and Blink 182 at the time was like this huge band. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. So Steve had produced one of the Asexual albums, and so he's like, hey, he owned a label with Craig Hetson of Bad Religion, Porterhouse Records. So they're going to sign LaMotta. And he'd already worked with Sean with the Asexuals, and they were both from Montreal, supposed to be friends, I guess, but me and Steve hit it off, and he was like, look, I'm going to record like a demo for you guys. And he picked, man, it was probably the coolest studio I've ever been in. It was in the Hollywood Hills. Wasn't that big, but man, cool. When you're talking about like Hollywood Hills, studio, LA, kind of just amazing. So we went in one night, we recorded 3 songs. And then he was like, hey, Charlie sings too. I want to do one of Charlie's songs, because I had songs. And we did Cut a Rug. And Sean, for some reason, no, I don't want to be, and then Steve and him started, he was like, Charlie's a better singer than you, and he can play guitar better than you too. That, like, whoa, no. So in one night, we recorded 3 songs, overdubs, mix, Matt, done. Granted, we stayed till like middle of all night. And Steve knew what he was doing. And I think that demo that he did for us was better than what LaMotta ended up, because they ended up signing with somebody, and their albums they're too polished. Those 2 albums they did with LaMotta, which I wrote some songs on those 2 LaMotta albums, and they covered 2 of my songs. They did Orange County Girls, and then they did Pity Now, but Sean changed the name to Titty Life or something. I don't know, whatever. And he never credited me. That's another thing. Like, dude, we're friends. Why would you not? I know he regrets it now, but so there was they're always friendly. I still, hey, he's like a brother. You're in band with someone, but so that started me on like, wait a minute, man, I can do this. I don't need a band name. I'll just do Charlie Greer. Why not? Band-aids are for codependence, I thought in my mind. So thank you, Steve Kravac. He also gave me a promissory agreement, which I didn't even know they existed, but it's a like a legal binding document that says, hey, and it gave all the breakdowns of the cost to record me, and it was expensive. It was for a major label. This was not for independent. And we were going to record at A&M Studios, like 2 weeks, something like just 40 grand, just was like 20 grand a week just to use that studio. And they had it all broken down, and he had padded it in the money with, so, and then you show that to labels like, hey, I got this promise from Steve Kravac, and if you sign me, he'll do the album. He just did Blink 182, who are all over MTV. And he did me a solid doing that. And he offered to do that. I didn't even know these existed. I didn't know that, and I did get a lot of attention. I did get, you think you want things. You think you're like, oh, I want to be on a major label. But then when you meet these people and you're like, oh, you mean you're taking it all. Like, okay, 50% of your publishing, plus all your merchandise, plus this, that, and, we can drop you at any moment. Then you can't work for a couple of years until we, just no. And then it's a small world. They're like, he's hard to deal with. He's angry. I don't want to, one of them was like, I had to give up everything. Like 100% of my publishing, 100% of my, we weren't even going to get mechanicals, which is there's 2 publishing, songwriting publishing, and then mechanicals, meaning you played on the album. You don't make as much publishing, but it still adds up. Come on. They wanted it all. The mechanicals, the songwriting publishing, the merchandise, everything. No. And I think it was in perpetuity. Like I'd always be later on in life, if I did like a commercial for McDonald's or something, they would be making about just as much as I did. No, 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 no. Can't do it. And of course, label people are not creative. They're like bean counters. They, I can't, I can play it cool enough, but then it's like, do I really want someone telling me what to do all the? So after Echo Park, I went to, where did I go? Because I went back a couple times. I went back. I spent a summer in Nashville. I did, come back to LA. But by 2002 or 2003, I didn't leave California until this year. The 20, I was there for like just 20 years solid. Not so after Echo Park, I went to hell, I can't even remember. Somewhere. I think North Hollywood. I lived in North Hollywood a few times. North Hollywood is cool. There's bad areas in North Hollywood. Um, One of my favorite rehearsal amp was on Lancashire there, and I loved. I'd used that for over a decade. And this the wild and crazy kind of parties. Again, that's why I don't party anymore out of my system, because I've been to so many cool parties, like the coolest mansion parties, just at the dinner parties, celebrities, private shit. We have to sign up. Pardon me, MDA agreement. You can't even talk about what you're seeing here. Okay, I dated someone that I had to sign up. Maybe I can tell that story someday. Uh, but yeah, again, I'm older. Times have changed. I'm sure there's a little bit of that, but man, LA was already bad, right? It got even, and I guess it's getting worse. I mean, I can't believe what happened to Los Angeles and Hollywood and California in general. Like, how do you fuck up a bad thing? I mean, a good thing. It's paradise, almost paradise. It is. No fun. Like Hollywood is fun. It's for dreamers. Not anymore. I mean, dude, they even stopped the Sunset Strip. I forgot how many years ago it was. It's been a while, in like 2010 or 2008. They passed you can't cruise the strip. That's what it is. It's a strip. You cruise the Sunset Strip. What you do? Well, if we got these cameras now that are connected to these stations, and if we see you coming back and forth a couple times, we'll find you and pull you over. What? And then they were trying to give like sound. They changed the zoning or something, so clubs had to close. Like things that are grandfathered in, like the Whiskey and the Rock, but certain and the Viper Room and certain. Dude, that's what it was. That's why you can live there, and there's all this. Man, the Sunset Strip to die like it did, just man, it's sad. Really sad. Used to see people walking up the strip, even in the late 90s, it was still popping off. Now there's nothing there. I mean, there is no scene. Those clubs, some of them are, but again, and in the 80s and 70s, it was so much cool. I wasn't around, but at least I got to see that. At least I got to experience. I worked on Sunset Strip. I managed the Abbott's Habit right across from Guitar Center, 4 doors down from Sunset Strip Tattoo, Greg James and all those cool motherfuckers. Hey, that was kind of tough because I managed the place. And when you open it, there was this big metal door and you open it up and we had this patio and then you're in the restaurant and then homeless people and crazy shit. And Charlie, got to break up a fight. Break up a fight? Again? Huh? Like, no, let them fight it out. Get them out. At least get them out of the rest. So that's what you don't break up the fight. You just kind of get it out of. And a lot of times people there will help you. Human nature. There's people who are looking to fight. Guys, girl, it don't matter. So just push them out on something. Let the cops will be there soon enough. They'll they'll break up the fight. Celebrities, just every on the hour. There was, because we always had a line. We had good food and cool coffee drink, and it was cool. Abbott's Habit was the thing, you know, and it was. I mean, literally, right next door was the Purple Panther tattoo shop, and then there was a head shop, and there was the liquor store. Down this way was the Sunset Strip Tattoo. Across was Chibo, this hip kind of restaurant. Guitar Center, Sam Ash, Mesa Boogie, Carvin, like everything. And then independent guitar stores. Anything you wanted, any time of the day, you know, just it was tough just to stay sane, because there's just so much shit that daily I was invited to, like day parties, pool parties, party this, party that. Let's go, Chad. And I met people before they were celebrities. Like I knew people when they were Kate McCucci and all these, you know, cool people. I mean, I was running ragged, you know, just and making good money. My tip, just the tips I was making was, and you know, you think, oh wow, I missed that, but guess what? It don't exist anymore. And also, I'm 51. I'm not in that world. I'm not that young person. And but that's not a hell. They'd probably rob that if how it open it was every day, stealing people's watches and whatever's pulling up. Yeah, you know, just no. And that used to be the building the Abbott's Habit used to be Frank Sinatra's old barbershop. Just history, you know, just cool. And I'm gonna miss those days, those Hollywood days. I mean, it was just like it's hard for me to remember so much shit because it was just like a daily, just you know, never at home. Again, I'd go walk my dogs or take my dog with me, but it was fun. I met people, just art shows, and you know, a lot of good times, wild times. Again, one of these days, if I get on Rumble, because on YouTube I have to censor myself. Maybe I can say more. I'd love just to be able to, you know, but I can't. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's true. I can't do it. So I do this every day. I didn't rant too much today. I'm doing this every day. It's going on my fourth month, maybe. I've done over 100. So come see me tomorrow. I'll be here. Hey, I love y'all. Hope everybody's doing good. Hang in there. Be blessed. Cheers.